road, but that's a good thing. Food processing side. City of Jefferson City, they have inadequate abilities to handle wastewater at this point in time. Not saying that they don't have the opportunity to expand it, but today they don't handle an ounce of industrial waste. It's a limiting factor when we're trying to attract those kind of industries. I think that the property itself has some merits. I wish there wasn't as many trees on it because it's difficult to see. I mean, that's what almost killed the Volkswagen deal down in Chattanooga. If it wasn't for the state of Chattanooga putting about $300,000 in 2 weeks and clearing 200 acres of trees, they wouldn't have had Chattanooga down there today. Not saying that over time we can't do that. Those are all development costs. We might make money off the timber, we might lose money off the timber. I don't know, but those are all just minor little factors. I think that if we go out there and just say, hey, let's go buy 400 acres without doing the due diligence, without looking at some of those costs and opportunities. I see opportunities and I see potential downfalls in all that type of stuff. But without examining, I'm not saying don't select this site and move forward with more due diligence, but I think if you went to the county commission next month and said, we've decided as a board 400 acres, this is the price and we'd like to buy it, I would assume that they're going to have a lot of these same questions for you all, is I guess all I'm saying with that. And it's, again, I mean, the timber, really looking at the utilities, and not only the utilities that are in place in and around it, but what's the capacity at the end of those lines? And what do we need to do to think long-term strategically? If you're buying 400 acres, it's different than 57 or 68 acres, because you've got 1 or 2 or 3 industries, and but when you're buying 400 acres, you're planning for 40 to 50 years. Realistically, you're planning for 40 to 50 years in the way industrial development goes these days.
This is pretty much twofold now instead of just single-fold. It's going to be great, like Larry said, if the railroad buys into this and this goes this way. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. And then if not, then we're back to the same question we have been for the last 2 months, 400 acres versus 65 acres.
This is actually
Yes.
Yeah. The options
No, I understand, but I'm saying the 400 acres for.
No, you don't have to buy the
reason
options.
We would select this over the 100 acres. I mean, maybe start with the 100 acres, but the whole reason we would probably select it. Personally, if I was looking at only buying 100 acres versus the 68 acres, I'll be honest, I'd buy the 68 acres. But there is the potential with the 100 to grow into a larger park that makes your side attractive, So, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I hope you guys, and I've had a lot of these conversations with you for going on over a year now, and I kind of said the same thing, I think, for the most part. I'm not saying that it's not something worth looking into, but I think if you ran this up the flagpole today, we would have some trouble. I didn't have an opportunity to get a cost comparison there. I'm looking at it just briefly, but you're at another $18,000. So just say roughly to get the 110 acres and fully developable, roughly you're in that $35,000 to $40,000 range. I don't think that includes any rail, does it? I didn't look at these things.
that's to build the road.
Just to build the road.
And
So you're at $35,000 to $40,000 with no rail there at that point in time. And to be honest with you, when you look at industrial land across East Tennessee or the entire state of Tennessee, that's in the upper 10% probably. So we're going to have to do some discounts and stuff. Again, not saying it's not an option. I think we should dig into it a little bit more. If this board feels that that's the way we want to go, with or without the potential to intermodal, we want to do a big park, no opposition. I'm saying that makes sense, but study it.
Well, the one thing, when you're talking about capacities of the utilities at the end of the line, can it handle it? Every property that we're looking at is in that boat.
Right.
The Rocktown Road or the one over by Walmart, I'm sorry, the name's the Hunt property, they go to Jefferson City as well. If sewer happens, that's where they go.
Those are, again, 55 and 68 acres.
Well, but I understand that, but at the end of the day, I mean, we're sitting there saying food processing. We don't know if food processing is gonna happen. So, I mean, if it does, 50, 100 acres, whatever, the infrastructure still has the same limiting factors. And you and I had talked about that, and, that's what I boiled it down to. Is all the parcels we're looking at, the properties we're looking at, have the same limiting factors other than the trees, to my knowledge.
Again, that could be an opportunity. We might make money off the timber. I'm just saying, I don't
timber
know.
prices are pretty good right now, is what I've heard. So, and that's the reason, of what we're looking at, pros and cons, hurdles to jump, whatever you want to call it. you know, I just felt more comfortable, you know, and probably sometimes I jump off the diving board before testing the water. But I've looked at this, to my knowledge, what I can lay hands on, my feel for it, gut, I guess, good word. I mean, I'm ready to do, but if we wanna wait till that study, obviously, you know, you have the opportunity to amend that, to push this off and see if that's.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
I go back to, Gary's got a great piece of property here and has an area to it. I'm not arguing with that. If you'll remember, I said, and I haven't spoke up very much in these meetings, but I'm like Larry, I'm new. But my point was about 3 meetings ago was we need to look at smaller parcels to begin with. And I still think this Hunt piece of property is a great piece of property. I just think it's laying right where it's just the logistics of it and everything is laying. That would be my suggestion.
Okay, let me make a couple. Anybody, Don,